struggling artist, aka sleeping on buddies' couches and asking my mom to Zelle me $50 to hold me over for the week. Oh, happy 4th of July!
I hope you get PTSD from the fireworks.
War! War! There's blood everywhere!
Uncle Jack got me human centipede. Dude, Mr. Jack, it's hi. How you doing?
This is a little different because usually when we do the unsub, I come in and I smell like cigarettes and I'm really self-conscious about it because I'm sitting sandwiched between Brandon and Cody and Nick. This time, like, I can smoke cigarettes freely and you don't have to smell me at this distance.
Dude, it's wild. Guys, welcome to another episode of Say Hi to Eli. Just a shout out for everyone that's hanging out and liking this. I am pleasantly surprised by all of you. So thank you guys. Seriously, thank you. Today we are joined by the famous Jack Mandaville, my favorite boy. My favorite
I'll be
boy.
I'll be your favorite boy, but I don't know about that famous part.
Dude, so famous. So famous. You got to say the line.
The Three Stooges line?
Oh, say hi, Eli.
Oh, say hi, Eli.
No, you got say hi. You say hi. You just say hi, Eli.
Hi, Eli. I'm so sorry. You know, it's a new.
Say hi to, wait, what?
It's a new show format, so I just got to. It's I know the unsub groove. I know I've been on all sorts of shows over the years. I won't make that mistake twice when you're on episode 500 and you're like, you forgot you already did an episode with me, so I'm invited back for episode 500.
But Jack, you want to be on? You're like, yeah.
I think I already did an episode. It's like, oh yeah, we ran out of people at this point.
What?
Yeah.
When? Like 5, 7, 8?
Yeah. Oh. It was like 7 years ago. You don't remember that? No, man. I've got shit to do.
I'm busy.
Yeah, I'm busy. Why would I remember a show from 7 years ago?
Dude, how you been, buddy?
I've been good, bro. I've been good. Working hard, but the good kind of busy, not the annoying, I'm in over my head busy. It's everything's going up kind of busy.
That's what I'm drowning all the time.
That's what you get for starting multiple businesses.
I messed up.
You have no one to blame but yourself.
Dude, every time and I tell Sav or anyone, I'm like, I have no time. And it's like an opportunity arises. I'm like, you know what? Helping the Army and developing the YouTube side for the 250 is a great idea.
Yeah.
We should really do this.
Everything goes smoothly when you're in bed with the DOD. Yeah, totally flawless thing. I mean, they govern themselves well, don't they?
Dude, just flawlessly. This would be so easy. Y'all already know I've talked about Ace VR in the past. We're actually teaming up for a little bit of discount on Thursday to save everyone a lot of money. Eli, is this the thing that you use to stay sharp at the range? The weight, the realism. This is how I don't have to go shoot as much and then stay highly proficient with it. This one saves me a lot of money because you're training in virtual space. Now, usually the handset and a year would cost you $367. But starting Friday for the weekend, they're doing a special for $267. And then I asked if I could put it at $250. They were like, yes, actually that works perfect because the 4th of July is America's 250th birthday. I was like, Papa, let's do that. So for $250, you get the unit and a year of Ace VR. Because you're saving $127, it is a limited supply. But one thing they did do for me was it opens up Thursday if you use code UNSUB. So on Thursday, head over to acexr.com and use code UNSUB. For $250, you get whatever unit you want and an entire year of Ace VR. I will make sure my name is on one of the leaderboards so you all can try to beat me. I want to push it if I didn't believe in it. You all know that. Cheers.
I want to say that one of the things that annoys me the most is when people be like, our founding fathers would be disgusted with the state of America, or our founding fathers would be disgusted of our current political state. Bullshit. Those guys had fucking egos the size of the goddamn sun. There was a lot of infighting. The fact that they pulled off not only the Declaration of Independence, but formatting the Constitution is a fucking miracle considering the egos in that room.
Especially the age, because a lot of people don't realize, like, they think of them as like these 80-year-old men.
Yeah, Franklin was in his 60s, but with the exception that, and Washington wasn't really, he was doing the war stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, they were all like 35 and under.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not even legally old enough to be. Adams is probably a little older, but yeah, not even legally old enough to be president today.
Yeah.
Dude. So I just want to come out of the gate with that because people need to realize that these are human beings. They're not these gods that we've made them out to be. B, like if let me just go on this rant. If the founding fathers were dropped into modern America, they wouldn't be disgusted. They'd fucking love this place. Thomas Jefferson could openly date black women. Benjamin Franklin could go onto Tinder and geotag Paris, everything within 80 miles of Paris, set age limit to 60 and above, and just be have a blast with his French whores. Do you think Trump is annoying on freaking social media? John Adams. Talk about a guy that loved to hear himself fucking talk. John Adams would be tweeting every 30 fucking seconds with some bullshit take. We forget about John Adams. For all the great things he did, it's well documented. He had some bullshit takes on stuff.
Give me three bullshit takes. They would be pissed about taxes.
He literally obsessed as because he was Washington's vice president, which back then and to this day is kind of a pointless fucking job.
Dick Cheney.
He did.
He did a lot of stuff.
He was the exception to the rule. Yeah.
The most he is considered what the
he
most
had a skiff at his house. Vice presidents aren't supposed to have skiffs at their house. Adams, like, because he had nothing to do as vice president, and this is a guy who liked to have hands-on. He liked to be working. Like he was like trying to get the presidential title like elevated to like Your Excellency and shit like that. And it was like Washington had to be like, we'll just do Mr. President. You can call me president. That's fine. Like, we just fought a war over these titles. What the fuck are you doing, John?
You should be called your king. No, what? Why?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What about these taxes? We should bring those back. I think that would be the only thing they'd be like, what the fuck are you
John,
guys?
what are you doing? Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
By the way, George Washington started he started the French and Indian War, which is why King George was doing the tax increases, is because it's like, you fuckers started this war. You have to pay your due for this. and the Americans were like, fuck this. We're not doing that. We'll just do our own thing. What are you going to do about it? We already learned how you fight in the French and Indian War because we were fighting for you. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. George Washington literally, basically, depending on which historian you're talking to, executed a French officer in the Ohio River Valley that kicked the whole fucking thing off. That led to the 7 Years' War, which was truly the world's first world conflict. It was done 21-year-old Major George Washington out there on his own with nobody overseeing him, executed a French officer that just fucking blew the whole thing open.
He was 21?
He was 21.
And then it's like, I don't know what to...
And they only put him out there because when he was 17, his half-brother needed a surveyor because they were trying to settle the Ohio River Valley, like modern Pennsylvania, Ohio, all that. So his brother was like, I'll just send my kid brother out there. He needs a fucking job. So he learned the lay of the land. So the local governor, Robert Dinwiddie, is like, well, that Washington kid knows his way around there. We'll just make him a major and give him a bunch of Indians and fucking militia guys.
At 17 until 21, this is what holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he just executed
Washington's story is gnarly. And we don't have to look at him as this perfect God, God.
Human.
Yeah, he's a human being. Like he was a kid making some mistakes, like starting the biggest war in the history of the world up until then.
Think what you were doing at 20. He could not have even drank in modern day society.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I will shoot. Okay, we'll shoot this guy. Mm-hmm. And then that just.
We don't know, but it very well could have happened. That's one of the accounts from the French that's how it went down. Yeah. Anyways, the ironic thing too is like 25 years later, Washington is like literally like, sure, I'd love to be friends with the French. I used to execute them, but now we're best friends. They're going to help us win this war.
No shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah. See, I didn't know any of this. Okay. So then you had the two that grew to hate each other was
Washington's president, John Adams is the vice president, Thomas Jefferson is he's still he's on the cabinet. But anyways, so these guys went through a lot to write and edit the Declaration of Independence and to keep the whole thing. They were all working their ass off during the war years. America's a country now. Washington's president, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. John Adams is vice president. Thomas Jefferson is somewhere on the cabinet. But now that they didn't have the British to focus on, they started kind of focusing on each other a little bit. And they had differing opinions on the direction the United States should go. And it boiled over to the point where, so John Adams was our nation's second president. And Jefferson, dude, again, we look at social media. These politicians are talking shit to each other on social media. I'm like, that's fucking nothing. Thomas Jefferson started his own fucking newspaper just so he could talk shit about John Adams when he was president. He didn't just pick up a phone and do a tweet. He started his own social media platform just to talk shit to the president. You know? That's why this like Musk-Trump dynamic, whether they love each other or hate each other, it's like nothing new in a lot of ways. Rich guys just starting their own media organizations to talk shit to each other.
And in presidents.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah. So, and at this point, John Adams is like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? Long story short, Thomas Jefferson beats him in his reelection. Now Thomas Jefferson is the president. And there was just a full-on fallout at that point, right? I don't know if hate's the appropriate word, but like, you know,
they did not get along.
They were not going to talk to each other again. Now, this is and again, we don't realize this about our founding fathers. We have this really romantic notion that they were on this noble conquest, which they were in simple ways. In simple terms, yes, America was a noble, in my opinion, a noble quest. But like,
it's still what we're doing.
Human
with
beings,
today.
Yeah, steering that fucking boat.
Yeah,
and they were prone to ego like anybody. And anyways. Adams kind of slowly retires into a less public life. Jefferson really tried to stay, he was kind of attempted to stay in public life, but these guys never fucking talked to each other. They didn't want to hear about each other. And man, I wish I did a better job verbalizing the timeline on this, but like basically let's fast forward to like, I think it's the 1830s. Could be wrong. Jefferson and fucking Adams have basically outlived everybody. Everybody that was there in that room on July 4th, 1776, signing that document, they're the only ones left. And they're the two biggest fucking players. It's like, you remember sports analogy. You remember, I remember you remember certain Super Bowl team years.
Yeah.
With the Patriots, but all you really remember is Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
And a couple other big names. Like, we don't know the rest of those founding fathers' names.
Oh, that's
Everybody
true.
knows Adams and Jefferson. They were big dicks in that room, and there's a reason. And they're the only ones left. And they kind of realize, at this point, an entire 2 or 3 generations are removed from that. And so America is going through this weird thing of trying to, like, really romanticize that era. That's when the first propaganda about, the signing of the Declaration of Independence started coming out, and kind of these... school, these like, the nursery rhymes and the stories, and it was all being written by people that weren't there, and the guys that were actually there were gone. Anyways, I'm not doing it. Long story short,
I love this.
I don't know how it happened, but they ended up reaching out to each other through letters. Adams was in Massachusetts.
Who did it first?
Jefferson was in Virginia. I don't know. I mean, we could look that up right now. I don't know who started the correspondence. I should know that. But they started writing to each other, because have you ever, dude, it's like, I don't, not to go into too much detail, big projects you worked on 10 years ago, a movie, a TV show, whatever. And by the end, you were kind of over it and over the people, and you saw egos come into play, and you were just like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. But a certain amount of time goes by, and you're like, fuck, that was awesome what we did. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of reconnect with these people because they also feel the same way. That was awesome what we did. And then, it's cool. I think that's what happened with these guys. They're like, fuck, we're the only ones left, and we are awesome. We're legends. We need to be cool with each other. We got to drop this ego. They have the letters. It's all there. They were just checking in each other's families. It happened when Abigail Adams died.
Oh, okay.
When John's wife died, I think Jefferson reached out to him.
No shit.
Because they knew each other well back in those days, man.
And he knew what he was going through. He's like, hey, man, sorry.
Yeah. Jefferson had lost his wife, and then he turned to the slaves. Started banging them. It's a whole different thing.
No shit. So he was like, fuck, I'll write a letter to my homie.
Sorry about your wife.
And then that would have probably been such a fucking, because it's not instant. This is the Pony Express. This is time.
Right. It's
goes
going from
by.
Virginia to Massachusetts. I mean, I don't even want to do that drive in 2025. Can you imagine on a horse?
Fuck, dude. So then you're like, oh shit, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Dude, that's wild.
So they did this for a while. They were going back and forth. They were just two old guys that that's all they had was each other at this point and that time in their life. And I think they were understanding the true importance of what they did because now America was a thing. This is the craziest shit, man. July 4th, again, I don't know the year, but I think this is in the 1830s at this point. July 4th comes around and John Adams is on his deathbed on the 4th of July, on the anniversary that made him John Adams. And his last documented words before he took his last breath on July 4th was, Jefferson lives. And then what he didn't know was Jefferson had died just a few hours before, also on July 4th.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Both of these founding fathers who really became the household names they are today died on July 4th, 1776. Both died on that day as well.
Dude, he wrote that last letter, woke up in heaven in line. He's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Jefferson, you beat me again, goddammit. You're always having a one-up me, Jefferson. Yeah.
I just wrote a letter. You know how embarrassing that is?
Jefferson's up there like, there's a lot of black women in heaven. This is my heaven.
Holy shit. I never knew they died on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Years, decades later.
Yeah. It's like you couldn't write something. You couldn't make something like that up. Damn. Yeah. And then, yeah. I mean, I could keep going down a rabbit hole of our founding fathers. That's for sure.
Wait, don't hit that button. This is literally the very first ad read for Say Hi. So give them some support. Look at this. Don't look at my wee-wee. Look at the stretch. Flexibility. Squat and rotate, squat and rotate, squat and rotate. That's right. True Classic are the jeans for not only all of Unsub, but Say Hi To. Finn, add stretchy sounds. And if you doubt the quality, we actually might be partnering with them for a couple other things. They're still in the works, but it's a fantastic company, and I can't stress enough how comfortable the jeans are. Also, if you like a nice dress shirt, they're pretty comfortable too. Now, the shirts are designed to accentuate certain parts of the body, like your arm or chest, and it leaves a little breathing room in between. And the jeans, well, Finn, cut to that butt. That's autism's ass. They actually wrote an ad read for us, but actually did it specifically for how we are, which is amazing. True Classic was built to make an impact, whether it's helping men show up better in their daily lives, giving back to communities, or making people laugh with ads that don't take themselves too seriously. Seriously, they lead with purpose. Thank you, True Classic. So whether you're having an important meeting or just a relaxing night on the town, level up your clothing with clothes that just fit right. Just use my exclusive link at trueclassic.com/sayhi to save today. That is trueclassic.com/sayhi. Shop now and elevate your wardrobe today. Military and it's more terrifying as the U.S. Army is considered like the U.S. military is like the largest, most powerful organization in the world.
Compared to others, is a well-oiled machine.
And that's the scary part, is knowing that this is a well-oiled machine.
So what's going on in, Russia?
That's what I'm like, man, how the fuck are we the most organized system out there? When anyone that's been in the military, like,
Yeah, it's like, oh, I watched the waste and incompetency firsthand. It's a thing.
And they stay in and then go higher and higher. Dude, I will say the most wild thing is getting out as an E4 and then now being, we were talking about,
now,
dude, this
with your new friends, your new circle.
Bro, I think like Specialist Jack or whatever was it, Lance Corporal?
Yeah.
Lance Corporal Jack, 20, like then you're working with the Secretary of the Marines if that's a position.
Right.
You'd be like,
I'm just surprised when a battalion level commander talks to me like a normal person because I'll always be E3 me. So now, as a 41-year-old man who's the same age as these battalion commanders, like, oh man, this guy's treating me like an equal. This is weird.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm gonna stand at parade rest just in case. Dude, at General George's house when we went to the ruckus, the most wild experience is the people that were taking care of everyone there, the attendees, and they were handing out the food and like getting coats and all that. They were like colonels and majors and lieutenant
Which
colonels.
in DC, a colonel isn't shit in DC.
No.
Yeah. That's my joke because I lived in DC. All the District of Columbia is a bunch of retired lieutenants, colonel who can't find a fucking job because that's nothing out there.
Dude, and I mean, you've been in the military, you maybe run into, 2 full birds your entire...
Right. Yeah. The person you see the most is your battalion commander, right? And they're fucking God in that world.
Literally, and then the sergeant major of that battalion, and they are like you don't mess with them. You try to avoid them as enlisted, lower enlisted. You're like, oh man, I don't want to get in trouble. If they don't see me, I'm good to go. I don't have to worry about this. So they're the low people on the totem pole and at the DC level though. And you're like,
Lieutenant Colonel, fetch me my tea.
You're like, what?
Yes sir, yes sir. Anything for the general.
You're like, what the fuck? Rich being still active duty and then a police officer. I'm like, bro has no fear. Dude, did you watch last week's unsub? So because we had General George.
Oh, yes. No, I watched it. Yeah.
Okay. And then like, dude, Rich is in his uniform because he was being angry cops, and then he interviewed Weimer, Sergeant Major of the Army Weimer, and he pitches, it's like, we need a Sergeant Major, or we need a drill sergeant of the Army, and I'm like, Rich, holy shit, bro.
Do you think that those guys at that level appreciate that Rich is
100%?
Yeah, he shows humanity to the uniform, and obviously a very impressive entertainer. So he's an asset, right? So he could probably get away with things that your average E6, E7 can't get away with, or don't have the balls to do.
Because even General George, that's the one thing leading up to it. People are asking, it's like, hey, do you have time for this? We can cross it off for unsub. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? He's like, that I look forward to the most because those guys are just going to treat me like anyone else.
Right.
I'm like, that makes the most sense. It's that I don't care about your rank or anything.
That's what I loved about doing the AFE shows when I used to go do performances for the troops. Those colonels, they'd always dog and pony you, but they, as a civilian, they were just happy you were there, and they talked to you like a normal person, and there was no formality.
So, Mr. Jack, I actually don't know too much about your childhood other than you grew up in Minnesota. You joined the Marines. I'm trying to even rewind more than that. I know you grew up in a middle income family, but your position in life, for anyone that doesn't know, Jack has went through childhood. Just you finished high school. You didn't do college, correct?
I did after the military. Yeah.
Okay, and then Marines deployed at the first wave. You actually joined before, or you joined right when 9/11 happened.
I
right?
joined August 11th. I went to MEPS August 11th, 2001. But I was a senior in high school. So, and you got to understand, right? You remember our first memories of war on television was Desert Storm.
Yep.
Well, that shit lasted 3 days. So when 9/11 happened, I'm busting in my recruiter's office. I'm like, you got to send me now. He's like, you got to graduate high school first. I'm like, it's going to be over. I'm going to miss out on everything. No.
Oh,
no,
were we wrong?
No, yeah. Young people old enough to be my children didn't miss out on anything. Yeah.
Dude, you see the two generations. It's like a dad and his son are at the same deployment, which is fucking wild to see. You're like, Maybe we've been here too
That
long.
was a long war.
Yeah. So you did that, and then you stayed in the film side or entertainment or writing, and that's been your expertise for the last 20 years, right?
Professionally, my only income for about 14 years. But yeah, being a struggling artist, aka sleeping on buddies' couches and asking my mom to Zelle me $50 to hold me over for the week. That went from about 2008 to 2011. Yeah,
Dude. So if again, I can't praise Jack is one of the most talented. You are so fucking talented, and then you're a hard worker, and then you always jump on the opportunity. When you started Jack History, just so that people know what we're about to get into, there was a couple conversations about Jack History, but we really pushed every time he would come on Unsub, and then he'd see all your fantastic messages, and it would motivate this dude to do it. And I remember the first time you called, and you're like, "Man, I read these messages, and I read the comments, and they are so fucking nice.
yeah.
Thank you," and you're so thankful.
They started out nice, then they got a lot more aggressive. Like, where the fuck is the show? I'm like, oh god, I gotta do this.
Good. You bullied him properly.
No, they did. You guys planted the seed, but they poured the water. Yeah.
They forced the water.
Yeah. Thank you, Unsub audience, for
funnel.
Yeah. Like, do they really like me? They're being real aggressive about this. Someone called me a fucker.
And then you did it, and I remember you were like, "Hey, I'm filming all these." You would ask questions, and then you launched it, and then it was off to the races. And I think that's why
Good start.
Dude, I so much props for that, because I was like, dude, my guy is just you did the hard work. It's scary. You have another job, but you're like, no, I'm going to do this and build this while I'm doing everything else.
Yeah, and I've done that before, right? Before I got my break, which is taking a 70% pay cut, I was working 12 to 14 hours in the oil field, and then when I was trying to be a professional artist, I was then writing for 4 or 5 hours each night to try to get momentum with that. So I've done it before, right? I'm at a stage now where this is just a different version of that. The good news is, for my Jacked History and then my main income, I get to be creative either way. So that was the goal. I got to fulfill that goal, and I can't lose that momentum, because 2010 me would have been pissed off if I would have not taken advantage of every opportunity I had.
Yes, that's as it should be. You reflect on, man, this opportunity is extremely rare, so I have to capitalize on it.
Yeah, I can't miss any beats with it. This is what I set out to do all those years ago, and I can't afford to fuck it up, and I have to do right, not just for myself, but now people expect this of me, and I'm gonna do it.
When you're watching, this will be around 4th of July, so happy 4th of July, everyone.
Oh, happy 4th of July.
I hope you get PTSD from the fireworks.
Yeah. Oh, war! War!
Just a hard cut to us crying.
That's what me and Governor all used to do all the time. If you heard like a car hit something or something, just everyone starts going, war! War!
I like how we downplay it. It's just
no
apology.
Is a serious issue, but you can make it fun if you want.
So we'll rewind. We'll start your childhood, a young Jackie boy.
This is the part where you try to make me cry.
Yes.
I hear that's a thing you've been doing to people.
Get over here. Yeah. Come sit in my arms. Just pet you. It's just Santa Claus. I'm like, yes, tell me. Just whisper into my ears. No, but like, I didn't know, like, your childhood is, I have zero idea. I don't know if you grow up like rich, poor. The one thing I've noticed with a lot of the individuals is we've had the same lot in life, where it's usually like lower income families, not the easiest life, but and most people that join the military also do the exact same fucking thing.
Right, yeah.
You're not joining because you're like, Dad just set me up with $8 million.
Socioeconomic similarities between your average enlisted men. Yeah.
What were you doing with like family? I know you were you're still fucking super close to all your family.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have a really good family.
Well, my dad's in his mid 80s, so it's like this is like I better go up there and visit this guy as much as possible. Yeah.
And what about mama?
Yep, mom's close. I like any good white male in America. I call them once every 2 weeks. Should absolutely be more.
You're better than me.
Yeah, yeah, it's a thing. And as they get older too, you're like, fuck, I gotta start calling them more.
Dude, fuck it, Dad. This is for you, you son of a bitch. My family's very. We do not talk that much. Like once every couple months, we'll be
Which
like,
I think males are okay with that arrangement.
Dude, all the Cuevas females and males are the exact same. Where we can touch base every couple of months. We'll be like, hey, what's love you. Da, da, da. I bought my dad. My dad buys old beat up vehicles. He's never had a new vehicle his entire fucking life. Like never a new vehicle. My dad is
just a habit he's in.
This 1990 vehicle is fine. Like, and when I was growing up, it was 70s, 80s.
Off.
Dude, yeah, it's $1,000. We can fix it. He was driving to visit for Father's Day, sister and everyone, and the 1990 truck that was not in good shape, him and my sister Celeste are driving from Indiana to Texas, and the axle breaks off and catches fire on the highway at 11 p.m. He puts
all
it
bad
out,
timing,
bro. He puts it out. He puts it out with the fire extinguisher, and then he calls. It takes a couple hours for it. They're in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, Indiana, with the exception of a couple communities, it's not exactly a booming metropolis out there.
No, and he's in. I want to say he was maybe in Oklahoma at this point. Maybe
Oh, okay, he's in Oklahoma. Well,
that's halfway there.
Yeah. Oklahoma City, not much after that if you're going 35.
Bro, no, middle of fucking nowhere. Breaks down, 11 at night. They calls my sister, like, hey, blah. He gets the vehicle, a tow truck finally makes it out there. They pick him up. It's midnight or 1. And then I finally call him like, Dad, what? Okay, what's going on? My sister's like, can you call Dad, please? Just talk to him and explain what's going what he needs to do. I'm like, yes. Call Dad. Hey, what's going on? Oh, Pops, my vehicle, the thing fell off and it caught fire, so I put it out. So we're towing it to the shop 2 hours away, and then I'll get a hotel in the morning. We'll go back and then we'll get it worked on. I'm like, huh? Well, we got to fix it. We'll the shop will go to the junkyard. We'll find a new axle and put it on, and then it'll be good as new. I'm like, okay.
There's no changing him at this point.
No.
Yeah.
So on the phone, I'm like, Dad, you're not doing that. You're going to take that to the dump right now, and I'm buying you a new vehicle tomorrow.
Just you don't have Venmo? Start a Venmo. I'm just going to take care of this.
So he goes and he's like, "Well, it's fine. We can repair it." I'm like, "No, Dad, we're taking it to the dump." The tow guy hears it. He's like, I mean, I'll take it. I was like, fucking perfect. Hey, there we go. Dad, do you have the title? He's like, yeah, I keep the title on me. I'm like, of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you do. And I was like, tow guy, hey, can you just take him to the hotel and then he'll get a rental car in the morning? And then the vehicle is yours. He's like, yeah, are you sure? I was like, 100%. Dad said yes. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'll do that. They took it there. He unloaded all his stuff from it, and then the tow guy took it, dumped it, took it to work on. And my dad's like, "Okay, I got the tow check." And then yesterday, I bought him a brand new vehicle. He's he's never.
Oh, is this last Father's Day?
Yes, literally. Yeah. This was yesterday. I bought him a brand new truck, so he's a brand new,
which he can use for another 40 years.
Dude, I know, dude. It's a brand new one, and it was still. This is where Dad. I bought him a new truck, and he forgot to call and say thank you. He's so happy about it, dude. Because he's never had a new vehicle. Homeboy's had always a 30-year-old vehicle his entire life, so he doesn't know what to do.
What's all this beeping,
dude? He doesn't know what anything does right now. He's so confused. But it was a really dope moment for me because I got to buy my dad something for the very first time. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's good payback for changing your shitty diapers right there.
I owe it to the man. He instilled that work ethic my entire life. So he's one of the hardest workers I've ever known. Worked so many jobs to just get by. And this is now for the first time. I'm like, hey, look, how was your shit back, son? You dropped out of high school. Yeah. You still want me to go to school because you think that's going to make a difference in my life.
My parents have brought that. Do you think you'll finish college? I'm like, no. Yeah. But for their generation, that's a big deal.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
So when are you going back to school?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen at this point.
So did you grow up parents middle income family?
Yeah, it was middle class, Midwest middle class. I didn't realize this till recently. 'Cause, I had like hand-me-downs and shit like that. That doesn't mean you're poor. That just means you're
Smart.
Yeah, and my dad told me recently, oh yeah, we were really tight. And then I look back on some things like, oh, that makes sense. They would have been pretty tight on money, but I would have never known. I never knew as a child. I had a believe it or not, based on looking at me, I had a nice childhood with very loving, typical middle America sports. And my dad, worked 10 to 12 hours a day. He's a conveyor belt salesman. Very Tommy boy, Midwestern type of job. And then my mom was homemaker, and so very nice, all-American type of thing.
That's awesome.
We never did big vacations to places, but we got in the car, and my dad was from I actually was born in California. We'd drive out there once a year. And
oh, you did do the whole drive from Minnesota to California?
Yeah, because
station wagon?
Yeah, it was a station wagon. Yeah. Yeah, and before tablets,
most boring drive you people have no fucking clue of how long a 12-hour drive that is. How long is that drive?
Oh, from Minneapolis to LA is probably around 24 hours, I would imagine. But we did the whole, remember the movie National Lampoon's Family Vacation? We did all the stops and all that at all the tourist attractions and all that kind of stuff. So it was a very wholesome experience. Yeah.
That's amazing. So that is a long ass drive. Did you go? So every year you would do it, or every other year?
It was like every year growing up, because my dad was from LA, and I still had a lot of family out there in California, basically from San Francisco to LA.
Where in LA?
Man, I was born in West LA, Santa Monica.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, my dad's generational Venice High graduate, West LA guy. So all over Los Angeles, a lot in West LA, and then they all moved to Palm Springs and Newport and inland, Temecula. A lot of them were up in north of Sonoma, north of San Francisco there. But yeah, I think at the core that family started in Los Angeles County there.
No shit. And then they do the trips. Would you do for Christmas, anything like that? Was it layaway, or was it, parents would just buy the Christmas presents there? Because my family would my dad would always do usually a family present, and that's a layaway for almost a full year.
Yeah.
Pay it off, and then I'd get a couple of things, maybe like a pair of nunchucks and a couple
of,
or a couple of action figures, and I was on cloud.
That was yeah. I got action figures and all that stuff. I doubt that they did any big purchases, but my fondest memories is I got a Robin Hood Prince of Thieves was a big movie when I was 6 or 7 years old. And I got the action figures to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and of course Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. Yeah. I never. My dad picked up a go-kart one year for probably $50. It was a used go-kart, so that was a huge purchase. A $50 he would let me drive it around the school parking lot and stuff like that on weekends.
Rip around.
Yeah. They always were able to get something memorable for me. It wasn't anything. I mean, I see I go over now to my sister's place for Christmas, and I watch her boys open presents. I'm like, we didn't get as much shit as they do.
Dude,
yeah.
The kids are. Dude, it is the hardest thing now. It's not trying to spoil your kid, because you look how much you can give them.
Yeah.
Bro, it is the most difficult thing right now of how do I make them experience what I did as a child, so they appreciate everything as it unfolds.
Right.
It's very hard, because as you're saying, you see what they get. You're like, they're getting a tablet or a phone, and you're like,
yeah.
Wait, you each get a fucking phone?
I bought them UFC 5 on PlayStation, and that lasted probably less than 2 hours on Christmas Day before my sister took the game, because they're like, there's blood everywhere, and they're 6. I'm like, oh, sorry, I don't have kids, Michelle. I don't know what the limits are and what children's gifts are.
They didn't like Human Centipede. You're just getting
Dude, you know what my favorite thing to do is whenever like I'm at a friend's house and their kids are like watching TV in the room. I've done this whenever like I see a bunch of kids watching TV because they never get the joke. So it's not like bad or anything. I'll just walk in there and I'll be like, you guys watching Pulp Fiction? Every time. And they'll just be like, what? I'm like, oh, never mind. Yeah.
Dude, actually, it's a good joke to play on anyone is get like Lion King or a Disney movie, but then always the case is Human Centipede. So you wrap it.
Yeah.
The kids they're like, oh my God, Uncle Jack got me Human Centipede.
Yeah.
And they open it, it's like, put it in. They're like, Jack, what the fuck were you thinking?
I'm sorry. The DVD cases, sometimes I don't pay attention when I'm replacing the DVDs. Yeah.
It's actually Lion King.
I get them used stuff, basically. Stuff I'm sick of, I just hand off to the kids. Yeah.
So what made you join the military then on your whole role? Are you middle income, high school, and then was it the war that was just like, oh, I want to do this?
No, I think a lot of people have romantic stories. I don't really. Before 9/11 happened, my friends were starting to get like their college acceptance letters in the mail. And I was like, I knew I forgot something. I'm like, shit, I bet I got to buy me 4 years or go to community college. Not doing community college. Yeah. So I thought about the military as a teenager. That was definitely an option in my head. I went to my dad was a Navy corpsman back in the 60s. And he was on the green side. So I said, oh, I'd like to do that. Like I get to be around Marines, but I'm a Navy guy. And, and then I went into the Navy office and they're like, have you taken Ritalin in the last 4 years? I'm like, boy, have I. So instant disqualifier. And then I went into the Marine Corps.
Wait, you can do Ritalin?
Yeah, that was a thing. They disqualified me for that. Because I told the truth. This is a good part about the Marines. When I walked in the Marine Corps office and they started asking the question like, don't say a fucking word. They can't prove anything. I'm like, gotcha. Thanks for teaching me how to lie, Corporal.
We just talked about this on fucking... we literally just talked about this on Kind of Consensual was the difference in wartime, like during that time frame of recruiters. Because they would just be like, hey, just hide any injury.
They can't prove shit. And as long as you don't have a criminal rap sheet, you're good. We also might be flexible with that too.
Yeah, we can talk to a judge.
Yeah.
You haven't been charged yet. We'll get it and then we'll wipe the slate clean. You just have to do 4 years and then you're golden.
Yeah. No, so I joined the Marines and a lot of it was I think a lot of people like, oh, patriotism and pay for college and all that. For me, I was like a kid from the suburbs who just kind of wanted to have a Hemingway moment in the sense I just needed to go have my little, never really left Minnesota other than little family trips. I needed to go have my my little adventure. And obviously the military is a great way to do that. So
100%.
Yeah, I knew that it wasn't going to be a long-term thing, but I was like 4 years. And then 9/11 happened. I'm like, shit, I'm definitely doing this. Fuck yeah. People are going to try to kill me. Yeah.
So and then they accepted you. You went to basic training. Mm-hmm. What was their response to that?
It was generally positive. I don't think as a parent that can be a comfortable thing. When I hear people when I hear people talk about wanting their kids to go in the military, that's kind of it feels weird to me because I don't know what parent would want that. I think most parents are supportive, but I don't know. Anyways, my parents were supportive, but my dad was a Gold Star child, right?
Oh shit! So that must have weighed way differently on him.
He had a perception of war. He knew a reality of war since he was 9 months old, right?
Yeah,
he grew up without a father because of World War II, and I literally he was a corpsman at MCRD at Camp Pendleton there.
He still joined after that?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah,
okay.
In the 60s, he was a Navy corpsman, and literally we have the video footage that's in my parents' basement. He literally gave my uncle, his brother, his last shots before he got on a bus to go to Vietnam.
What the fuck?
So it's like, we watched his brother go to war. But my brother, this was my dad's way of talking me down because I joined the infantry, right? I was so fucking stupid. I didn't know any of the shit. So I walk into I do the ASVAB thing, and the recruiter's like, there's a variety of jobs you could choose from. I'm like, who's the storming the beaches guys in the commercials? Like, who's the storming the beaches guys? Like, you mean the infantry? I'm like, I'll do that. Yeah. So I joined the infantry, and my dad was like, why don't you do something like supply? Your Uncle Bob made staff sergeant in 4 years in Vietnam. And you didn't have to, go through all the things those grunts did. Yeah.
And you didn't listen.
No, I didn't listen. I needed to have my Hemingway moment. No one's going to shoot at me if I'm supply. Well, in Vietnam, that was the case. In Iraq, you could get shoot at being any job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like it was like the D-Day guys. Which one were those?
That's literally how I basically approached it. I was like, I want to be like the storming the beaches guys.
Dude, when I did MEPS, I remember I didn't understand anything, as you don't when you join the military.
No.
And it was, hey, I want to be infantry. I wanted to do like Ranger, Special Forces, all that stuff. And they're like, you have a GED. It's like, okay, what do I need to do, though, to get all those contracts to like go to college
Yeah.
for 15 credits? So it's like, what else do I need to do other than that? They're like, graduate honors or anything. That was a lie. I graduated honors. Did not.
No.
I max PT, shot expert, like, and then I was like, can I get one of the contracts? And they're like, no. I was like, motherfucker. But when they were like, you're going to Fort Benning, because infantry, hey, you have to go to Fort Benning.
That's everybody goes there, right?
Yeah, for infantry, that is the only all-male basic training, so you have to go there. But I was told in the past, it's like, oh yeah, Benning sucks. It's the worst one because it's infantry.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, hey.
Yeah, the infantry is not supposed to be a comfy place.
Dude. So when the recruiters sign up, go to MEPS, and they're like, okay, you're going to Fort Benning for training. I was like, is there any place else I can go? Like, I actually asked them.
Do you have any bases in Hawaii? Any basic trainings in Hawaii?
Because I didn't fucking know.
Yeah.
I was just like, what about the one in Oklahoma or one of those ones? And they're like, no, you're infantry. You have to go here. Are you sure this is where I need to go? They're like, yeah, you're going there. Did all that. But yeah. I was like, I fucked up. So you did infantry. You're like, I'm going to go to this. I'm going to go to basic and then get shot.
Yeah, I got shot. I mean, you want to do that again? I have told that story so many times.
That is true. If do a quick synopsis, and then we can kick to another episode of Unsub where you've told the story. Or, we reenacted it on...
Oh, Drunken Debrief.
Yeah, Drunken Debrief. Reenacted this fucking...
That's why when a stranger brings that up, I'm like, I don't know where you heard it from. Could have been Unsub. Could have been Drunken Debrief. Could have been probably other podcasts. Like, that's the... right after boot camp, you do your infantry school, which is just kind of a more relaxed version of boot camp. It's still kind of boot camp in a way, but anyways, at that time you had 500 privates learning the squad automatic weapon for the first time. And I always bring up back then, now to be a school of infantry instructor, it's like a B billet. If you're looking for career advancement, it's a good place to go. It's a coveted thing for infantrymen specifically. Back then, that's where it's like, this guy's got 6 months left and he doesn't care about anything. Let's go have him babysit 500 privates. So there was we were doing live fires with the saw for the first time, and a few weapons didn't get checked properly, and we were cleaning the weapons. It was a Friday. It was going to be the first ever time you have all these kids. I was a kid from Minnesota, and now, you get to go out into San Diego for a weekend. So we're all rushing to get these things clean so we can have our first weekend off. And the gentleman, the guy, I was cleaning the barrel, he was cleaning the buttstock. He took the buttstock off, kind of just dropped the weapon, and it sent the charging handle forward. There was a round lodged up in there, and old PFC Mandaville was scrubbing the barrel, went right through, split open my arm there, and it was a thing. You know what's funny though is I've been told, I can't confirm this, that was a big contributing factor why they turned the SOI instructor into like a professionalized B billet, was because of that incident. So I kind of made Marine Corps history, like Chessie Puller level when you think about it.
I call you Chessie Puller when the cameras aren't wrong.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, when you think about it, you're like, we got to make some changes.
Yeah, we can't have privates getting shot like this.
This is outside of war. and he got shot because we didn't want to rot him off the range really quickly.
Dude, yeah.
I think we're putting the wrong. It's like being, public education. Imagine it's the people that don't want to do anything and they're like, oh, we'll just go teach then.
Yeah.
And then they're teaching your kids. That was the logic at the time for this. It's like, just send them to teach the privates. They'll obviously do a good job. They want to get out. Like, they do not give a fuck.
Yeah, no, they're already checked out. They're thinking about weed and pussy at that point. Yeah.
So you did that, did the deployment, pooped yourself, which is still
yep.
one of my favorite stories.
Don't eat chicken from the locals. Yeah,
and you did that before, because what year was this? 2003?
That was during the invasion of Iraq. Well, it was like shortly after things had started calming down. Yeah.
And then you're like, hey,
this lady's offering me chicken. It looks and smells good. And I don't think it's the chicken was bad. I just think we'd been eating all that MRE shit for like 2 months at that point. My body was not equipped for grease,
I still think it's probably how they cook the chicken. Every time we ate, the only time I got dysentery twice in my life was over there.
Yeah. And Nebuchadnezzar's revenge.
Yeah. I was only to do. They downed an entire unit from missions for 2 days. We couldn't run any ops because we went to a elder's house. We partaked in eating. They did the table. They lay it out. Everyone's eating. They have the chicken. They have the rice. You're talking with them. You're doing the payoffs. Blah blah blah. Everyone leaves. Everyone's feeling great. And then the next day, I was just vomiting out my butthole and pooping out my mouth. I was just like, no.
Yeah.
Everyone's like,
and the worst thing you can do is take a nap because you have no control at that point.
Oh, dude. That was and then it's 130, 140 degrees. Yeah. And it is absolutely fucking miserable. Yeah. That is the only time you're like, I feel like I'm going to die. I think I would rather die right now than do any of this.
Dude, and I look back at the time, like, you can handle a certain amount of bullshit because of your age and youth and all that. Like, I look at dudes my age who are still in the infantry. I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? Respect, but Jesus Christ, man.
Bro, I've said it multiple times. You couldn't pay me enough, especially now, to do it. And then we'll also have the joke, how much would it take to go back as a private at your age?
Oh, no, I'm good.
How much money though? Is there a number where like $1 million a year? And even that, you're probably like, fuck, dude, I don't know.
You know what the good news is? After working in entertainment for years, I'm really used to getting talked down to at this point. So I think I'd be better equipped now. Because back then I took it personal. Nowadays, it's just like, oh yeah, no, I've heard people call me names before. Yeah.
But man, having to do CQ, having to be woke, like, bro.
No, it's the waking up in the middle of the night. At my age, sleep is
and you're okay with it,
sacred to me,
dude. And you say it's okay being talked down to. Now, a 19 or 20-year-old sergeant's talking down to you. Oh yeah, you'd be like,
you don't know shit about life, dude. You don't.
Why aren't you standing in parade and rest, huh? And you're like,
oh God, you don't know shit,
dude. You're getting $1 million a year though. Oh God, are you doing it, Jack?
For $1 million a year? Well, it's more money than I'm making now for sure. Fuck yeah, $1 million a year. I just found out you only need 15,000 acres in the state of West Virginia to start your own county. So yeah.
Wait, what?
I mean, I don't know how true it is. Somebody told me that if you have 15,000 acres in the state of West Virginia, you can start your own county. So I definitely want to invest in my own county in West Virginia.
Just the Mandaville,
the mayor, the sheriff. It's called Mandavillage. Yeah.
Man Nation.
Yeah.
Like, this is
City Council.
So, you got out of the military. Then you're like, okay, next step of life is try college, hate it.
Yeah. I mean, I did it. I got 2 or 3 years in it. I got kicked out. So, yeah, I punched a guy. Sober. Yeah.
I need more.
And without anger.
That makes it
way more it was when I was going to school in San Antonio. Man, I caught this guy on a bad day somehow. I mean, I don't know what I said to him that pissed him off. Certainly nothing intentional. It's the guy I was doing like the work study thing with, where you can be a student but also get a paycheck, like working for one of the offices.
Yeah.
Man, I caught this guy on a bad day. I said to him like, "Hey, come hang out with us," or something like that. I didn't mean any. I guess he was like stressed with studying, and He's like, let me go speak to you outside. As someone who just got out of the military recently, like, oh, that's a normal thing for someone to ask you, right? So I went outside with him, and all of a sudden he just started hitting me, pounding in my chest. You're a piece of shit. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was trying to process what was going on. He's like aggressively going at me. So I did the right thing. Tried to walk away. He slammed the door as I was opening the door. And then I tried walking the other way, and then he blocked me. And at that point, I took him to the ground, and I hit him probably 1 or 2 times while he's on the ground. Like I got to restrain this guy. He's escalating this. And yeah, long story short, like I stood up. I was very calm. And, you know, of course, one of the typical white lady bullshit. I've already called the police, right? I'm like, okay, God. All right. And the cops show up, and he's running around like, he hit me for no reason. I'm like, no, there was a reason.
I've never heard this story
Yeah, I got
before.
kicked out of college, yeah. San Antonio. Cops show up, and like I thought there'd be a little more. These were, by the way, they're like campus police. They're not like San Antonio PD or anything. And he walks up to me and he goes, "Did you hit him first?" And I'm like, well, yes, technically I did. I had exhausted a lot of other things though. And I go, yeah. And they cuffed me right then and there. I'm like, oh, this has never happened to me before. And it was like 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. This is the funny part of that though. So they're taking me to jail. This is all new to me. It was like, and in my head, the only things I knew about like being incarcerated was from like watching Oz when I was 10 years old, which is way too young to be watching that show.
I gotta fight
like,
the biggest guy.
They're gonna try to me and make me a Nazi while I'm in there. I can't be joining no Nazi gang. I love everybody. So, dude, they take me to, it's like, yeah, by this point, it's like noon on a Wednesday. And they take me in there. And I remember walking in there, like puffing my chest. I got to let these guys know I'm not one to be messed with. Jail on a Wednesday morning is just people waking up from the drunk take the night before. There was nothing going on there. There was nobody that was a threat to me. And this was a misdemeanor thing, so they keep the felony things segregated from the misdemeanors. I'm with like all the loser criminals. So anyways, I was in there for like 8 hours, and the only reason it took longer to get me out was because I'd never been arrested before, so they had to process. And yeah, if I'd been arrested before, I could have been out within an hour. So, and the thing is, like, it wasn't until a year later that the court thing finally happened and I was able to deal with that. But the next day, the school was like, you're kicked out. I'm like, but a jury of my peers haven't even found me innocent or guilty yet. How can you make this determination? But that's when that's actually what started the whole me not believing the whole support the troops thing. Like, I started questioning that because the first thing that I'd never told this to anyone. I don't know why he would have known this. The first thing he said to me before he kicked me out of school was, first off, thank you for your service. And then he proceeds to tell me I'm being kicked out of school. And I really felt like, hey, that was super fucking condescending to thank me for my service while you're giving me this unfair bad news. And then the second thing is, it wasn't necessary to say that. That has nothing to do with any of this. Now I think you guys took me being a veteran, which you know nothing about my service. You don't know whether I was a fucking cook. You don't know if I deployed or anything. I really felt like, oh, these guys are kicking me out because I'm a veteran. Like, that's a part of it. They think I'm some sort of like threat where I have anger problems or something like that. Which I have no history of. I've never been to jail before or since. What'd
they do? What was the outcome of that entire thing? Like, after, you got kicked out, but you had the court proceeding and everything.
Yeah, well, my ignorance, right? I was like, the truth will prevail. And the way the court system works is you better get a good fucking lawyer. It doesn't matter how clearly innocent or clearly guilty you are. It's all the lawyers. It has nothing to do about the truth. But I was like, the truth will prevail. They have everything. So I did a public defendant. And all this guy would do, he had the sloppiest looking suit ever. And in my 15-minute meetings I would have with him, all he would ever talk about is this reggae band. And we actually got to the point where it was going to court because I'm going to prove I'm innocent. And I just see the guy like nervously. He's like, I've never been to court before. Fuck, I've never been to court before. This guy. And I saw that. I was like, I'll do the deferred adjudication. Yeah, so I had to do some community service and nothing really came.
But you still got, you lost technically.
I pleaded no contest.
Yeah.
So I don't know the verb. Yeah, it's like I'm not admitting guilt, but I'm also not being proven innocent.
That's
But it is
fucking
a
wild. But
misdemeanor.
it's still, I mean, how did that affect you personally? Because that is
Maybe-
when you go in thinking, oh, the truth will prevail. We built this nation for this.
Right. So, I mean, I was still at that. I was 25 at that point. So there was still idealism there and ignorance there. And that was just another thing in many things in my life that chipped away at certain kind of idealistic thinking. And I learned the fucking truth. War opened my eyes to stuff. That opened my eyes to stuff. There's been other things in life that have opened my eyes to stuff. And that was one more thing where it's just like, oh, buddy, this isn't some honky dory world. There's people get fucked over and it's not fair to them.
Here's a good indicator of that. Doesn't matter that this dude was aggressor. Because if you don't know you are still one of the most. Yeah, I always say it's like I try to be the same way. I want to be peaceful. I want to make everyone happy, laugh, smile.
I'm a big people pleaser. Yeah,
Same.
that's another That's actually not a good thing. And
No.
I'm at my age now. I'm starting to derail this, but people pleasing. Sure, it can have some benefits, but it's not good in the long run.
Yep.
And at 40 years old, I am literally actively trying to break out of that. I've done certain things where I'm like, I'm not going to accept things I did in the past just because I want to make everything happy. That's a whole different thing.
But it something I think a lot of people need to hear because yes, it sounds, as you said, even with the court system, oh, this is what I'm going to be the best version of myself and I'll make people happy and then they'll like me and then they'll be better because of it. But that has negative repercussions when you get into relationships.
Oh yeah.
Business.
Oh yeah.
Boss. Like it has very, very bad reactions or consequences because of I'm a people pleaser. And I don't think a lot of people realize
There's
how
nothing
bad.
romantic or good about it. You're not doing anything good for yourself when you're blindly being a people pleaser. It's okay. I mean, it's okay to have control over that. You know, if you have control over wanting to make people laugh and wanting to, you know, sometimes not take a side, that's okay if you have control. But if you're just doing it outright, all the time, that will catch up to you.
I think a lot of people need to hear more about that. It is one thing. It's difficult to break because I thankfully I have that weird thing where I don't have emotions. I'm good at emotions, but it's also I don't have a whole bunch. Like I don't miss people as much as it's that not. It's where I think Ryden gets his autism from, where I'm like, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Why would people react this way? And I just live with it, and I think it is part of how we're raised, and then whatever. I always find like why it happened for me, but
we're at an age where you start getting really reflective on like, why am I the way I am?
exactly.
Yeah.
And I see how people are with their families, or like the closeness. Even like once a week, I'm like, oh man, that'd be wild to talk to my family once a week.
Dude, I'm from Minnesota, right? So I forget that accent, the Minnesota dialect, everyone knows from like the movies, Fargo. That's real, and it's actually one of the easiest. The way the tongue is formed, it's actually an easy accent to get rid of. So if you grow up around it and you leave it, you can condition your tongue out of that accent, which I have for the most part.
Very well.
But man, when I'll call my mom and like, hey mom, and she's like, oh, hey honey, how are you? I'm like, oh God, you people actually talk like this. I forgot. Yeah. Yeah.
And man, it's still wild. You got in trouble. It is a wake up call to yourself. And then the violence, that guy, them not believing you on, hey, I'm going to do everything to actively avoid a
Tried
fight.
to walk away. That was my first instinct, was to walk away. Yeah, I wasn't some like PTSD angry veteran who needed to fight the world. I was like, oh, I don't want to be involved with conflict right now.
A lot of war does that where even from fighting, boxing, MMA, war, I try to do everything else. Yes.
You see those guys that are like waiting to shoot someone come through their house. And I'm like, I want to avoid that at all costs. I'll get door locks as one measure. Like, I'm not inviting that.
No.
Yeah.
Now, if they break in, I say it is, I don't want to do any of that. I'm going to be the most peaceful, nice person. I want to set an example, but I do violence very well when it needs to happen. I will do violence better than a majority of people.
When I flipped that switch, I freaking restrained them right away.
Yeah.
Didn't take much.
No, and then it is actual, and they are like ragdoll, like, I fucked up. And you're
Yeah.
like, And then
he's doing this for no reason.
Yeah, he's like, and then you switch it back, and you're like, why'd you make me do
I
that?
stood up. I literally remember after
You do the same way.
the guys, all the other guys came out and they like grabbed him. So I literally, as soon as I stood up, I was like so fucking calm. I'm like, well, I guess that just happened.
Yeah, dude. And it's when people watch it, though, like, you're like, yes, I don't want to do that, but I will do it. So can we just get along?
I feel that's a reason why I have a hard time asserting myself in certain situations, is because I am used. I'm Jack. Everybody, people. I'm so used. I'm even outside of the camera, right?
You're very kind.
I try to be.
Kind. Yeah,
I'm a goof. That's been since I was a child. So when I do assert myself and I change my tone, where that would be normal for a normal person, if people are used to me being a certain way, it almost looks violent. Because like they don't expect that from me, so I feel like my change in tone, me being assertive, looks worse because they're so used to the goofy part.
It does make them. It makes people snap to the way quicker because they are used to one version of you, and it's the same even when it's like Boss Eli or Dad Eli. It is I have a different tone when I'm talking like that.
Yeah.
Like, and then they're like, okay. I'm like, oh, I never want to do that. And I want to be kind. I want to be open, transparent.
Yeah.
Comms is the most important thing.
There are people out there that will just take advantage of you.
Yes.
And boundaries.
And I don't think a lot of people realize how important boundaries are in relationships. I mean, we've had those
with
discussions.
Your parents.
Yeah, even with your parents. And that is one thing I'm so thankful for because, I mean, Sav knows how my dad has raised me and my family. We cut people off really quickly. That's one thing we've done. It's like, oh, they're doing this behavior. Get rid of them. Doesn't matter your blood. Doesn't matter anything. You cut them and you throw them aside. And then they have to prove themselves. Not once, not twice, but like multiple times and be like, oh, it's actually sticking this time because my mindset is they're never going to change. They're going to keep being a shitbag no matter what.
I just started doing that in the last 2 years of my life. For the first time ever, I'm like, I am not just going to cut this person off. I can confidently do it and not feel bad about it. And
isn't it good feeling though?
I don't even hate this person, but I'm like, this person's not right to be in my atmosphere. And so this needs to go away now. And the first time I did it, it was like a year and a half ago. It felt uncomfortable at first because I'd never done it before. But afterwards, I'm like, oh, I could do this all the fucking time. You better not piss me off. I'll cut my own sister out of my life if she looks at me wrong. Yeah.
I love you, sister.
I did it, man. I did it, and afterwards, I'm like, this is one less thing I'm gonna have to stress out about later. I wasn't mean about it. I did it very strategically.
You communicated.
I communicated, and I wasn't mean, and so I did everything right on my end. And I'm like, if you're gonna be pissed off about this, that's on you at this point. I said my piece, and I legitimately wish the best for you.
But at the end of the day, and then you realize it's like, it doesn't matter what they think, how they feel towards me. They're just going to disappear. And then I will never have to worry about that stress, that drama ever again in my life.
Yeah.
And then I get to live and do this, and they're probably going to make somebody else miserable.
Yeah, because if they're doing it to you, they are doing it to other people.
Yeah.
And this was a male friendship. This wasn't like romantic relationships are a whole different ballgame. That's a whole different thing to unpack. But like a male friendship, right? That's in a lot of ways more complicated because you will hold on to that more than
you make excuses of why. Well, I've known them this long.
Yes, they did this for me 15 years ago. I owe them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's I think people with romantically it's easier. Family, friends, it's a lot more difficult because of that mindset. It was like,
I'm lucky I've never had to be in those positions. I've set boundaries, but I've never had to like contemplate cutting it. I've been very blessed there.
See, that's where any relationships you've done. I mean, we've discussed previous ones with you where you're like
romantic relationships.
Yeah, and I'm like, Jack, what are you doing? Just fucking stop answering.
Yeah.
And you're like, but
that's the people pleaser.
Yeah.
It's like, if I just plead my case and show them how kind I am and honest I am, then no, that's not how that works.
Because how often does it work?
It doesn't. You're there because it doesn't work.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that is, if anyone at home fucking internalize that more than you think, because if you're in your 20s It will make such a difference later in life if it clicks in your head. Oh, they're not going to change. After 28, it's the frontal cortex fully develops by 30, and then that person is pretty much who they are.
If you see something weird, it's probably because it is.
Yeah. So don't make excuses for them. Just be like, you know what, I need, and catch yourself too. It's like, I need to make a difference.
The sooner you, I'm certainly not trying to tell people to just start willy-nilly cutting people out of their life, but the sooner you do it, the more headaches you'll save yourself in the long run.
It's a business mindset or being successful. It is, you are who you surround yourself with. So if you want to get away from all, like if you're surrounded by shit bags that are negative, guess how you're probably going to be.
Yeah. And I've only ever had, I'm sorry.
No, go.
I've only ever had to actually like do it in its full form from like, this is just not a relationship that's done and it's okay. I've only actually done that, I think, when I say not counting romantic relationship, I've only had to do it twice.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a common thing, but even when I identify certain, I mean, we work in the same arena. We know there's certain types of personalities that come into our arena. You know, I've been around. I know how I've been fucked over or hurt before. So now, even if I can't, you know, maybe for professional reasons, I can't cut this person out of my life, but I know how to strategically distance myself.
Yes.
So it's like, hey, sure, if we're on set or whatever and we're doing this together, I'm going to be polite, professional, but like, we're not hanging out afterwards.
No, God, no.
Yeah.
And you're not going to put in the effort too. You're like, oh, I could just, this is fake. I don't want to be fake.
That's a good thing about turning 40 too, right? It's like, oh, my friend limit is tapped out. Everybody else after is just kind of like a social thing where I'm going to give my best to another human being. But like, as far as like deep, meaningful friendships, I'm tapped. Yeah.
I love the older you get, I love being home. It's the guys will go out and drink and it took them a while to them understand. It's like, why don't you go hang out or do this random shit? I'm like, brother, dude, you know what sounds dope at 40? Being home. Being with a fam, quiet. Yeah. I get it. I don't have time off anyways.
Do you remember when we used to first do SHOT Show back in the olden days? And I was like, I'm going to party. I'm going to meet everybody. I'm going to see everything. I'm not stopping. And now I still have to go to Vegas. I get to go to Vegas for work. Let me rephrase that. I get to go to Vegas, but it's for work. And as soon as that show, whatever show I'm doing, as soon as that's over with, I'm like, well, going back to the hotel room, I got myself a 5 milligram gummy and South Park's on Comedy Central all night long. And I have a 9 a.m. flight, and I'm going to be real comfy when I get to the airport.
Dude, and it's the guys with the live shows, because we'll do live show, and I always head back. I purposefully make sure all our hotels are at the airport or next to it. So that way,
smart.
That evening,
do I need to stay on the strip at this fancy place, or
can I wake up and ride an elevator down and just get on my fucking flight? Yeah. Guess which I'm choosing every fucking time.
Yep.
So, and they didn't understand. Now they're getting it, and they're like, "Why don't you go out afterwards of the live shows and then come drink or anything?" I'm like, I just had to perform in front of a fuck ton of people.
That is, again, could be worse. We could be working in a cubicle, but that's a very draining thing.
You're an introvert. You're like,
yeah.
And it is such a blessing. But dear God, when you're meeting and greeting and shaking hands and taking photos, you're like, holy shit, I'm so goddamn lucky. And your social battery is like boop, 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 boop. And then you're putting everything together, running it, managing it, and you're like, okay, here's the show notes. Here's what we got to do. We got to hit these beats. Okay. And then I have to worry about the next day on travel, in flight, and doing this again. You're like,
when I knew you guys were going hard on the Unsub Lives, because I've known Rich for years, Rich High.
Yeah.
I've known him for years, right? I was roommates with him when we were doing 14-hour days filming TV shows, and he would wake up with an insane amount of energy, no coffee, and he would go to bed that way.
Yep.
When I knew you guys were going hard was when I met you guys down in San Diego before the San Diego show at the hotel. I met you guys when you came into the hotel.
Yep.
And the look on Rich's face, I'm like, oh, if he looks like that, this has to be an insane fucking schedule they're on right now. Because I've never seen Rich break before in any professional circumstance.
Dude, it is brutal. And you're just like, Oh, okay. I'm almost done. Oh my God, I got to do it again. Okay. I just counting down.
It's crazy though, but once you're on stage, it's like, I'm on. Yeah, I'm back, baby.
Dude,
Yeah.
and then you shut it down immediately. We would land. I would always go take a nap, and the guys would go explore the town. And then I'd be like, "Why the fuck are you exploring the town?"
The nap is where it's at.
That 40-year-old nap.
Yeah. You know what you need to do to be good. What you owe people coming to pay for this show. You owe them your best, and that means Eli needs to take a nap.
Oh, dude, my siesta is gonna be fucking next level. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna wake up and be like, oh.
Yeah. Same thing at SHOT Show. Unless I am obligated to be at a venue to do whatever, I'm in my hotel room getting, eating my little snacks, watching my TV shows, catching up on a little work.
Yeah. You're not like, I want to go hit the casino floor,
Yeah.
gamble, and hang out with a bunch of people. You're like,
Yeah, no. And again, 10 years ago, oh, fuck, I was all about it. Yeah.
Living that
Social
dream
butterfly.
So what got you into the art side of everything?
I got kicked out of college.
Yeah, you were beating people up.
Yeah,
Just
willy-nilly.
typical
Yeah.
veteran PTSD.
Fucking being an angry, scary veteran upon society. I got kicked out of college. So this whole thing where I wanted to...
What'd you go to college for, actually?
I was going to be a history teacher.
Oh, what? That's fucking amazing. You're doing Jack history.
Yeah,
then.
I was getting a general history degree, and then I was going to do education.
What?
Yeah. It all come together. Yeah. Now I have 25,000 students instead of 30. Yeah.
And making more.
Yeah. No, I straight up, that was a weird thing. I wasn't working at the time. It was my GI Bill was paying my way through things, and it was very depressing for me at that time. I do remember that because there was like shame of being arrested and being kicked out of school. Never been kicked out. I've quit a lot of things. I've never been kicked out of things before.
This is going to follow me for the rest of my
Yeah,
life.
I felt like that. I straight up felt like that. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. No, I'm not. I'm not going to Taylor Swift myself. Yeah. Joke. Okay. Yeah. Getting kicked out of college. Dude, it had been building for a while. I'd been writing, but I had no purpose in it. But I was like, and it really probably was within a week of me getting kicked out of school. I'm like, I'm going to be a writer. And I said it to myself. There's two, and can I just jump ahead till now? There's two things I've never, I quit sports eventually because I like pot. And not that cheerleader, like pothead girl.
Yeah.
I quit karate when I was a kid. I technically didn't quit school, but didn't last. The two things I've never quit in my life is I saw my Marine Corps, my 4-year enlistment all the way through in 4 years, and when I told myself I was going to be a writer, I stuck to my word, and I started writing about, at that time, the Tucker Max, I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. Those short male-driven stories were huge.
Yep.
I'm like, I just
MySpace
came
era.
from the Marine Corps infantry barracks. This is one of the funniest fucking places in existence. I have so many stories. So I basically started doing short stories of my character was this fish out of water, simple boy from the Midwest who's meeting this wild cast of characters. And I started doing these short stories about kind of either directly or inspired by my time in the Marine Corps. And nothing deep, no combat shit. It was all barrack stories and mishaps and funny things that I witnessed. And it was catharsis, right? When I meet veterans now and they just want to talk about the glory day, it's because you're holding on these really fond memories and you want to get them out there. I had by writing those out, they weren't building up in me anymore. I was actually able to release them out of my brain at that point. That's why I call it that catharsis, because the more I wrote those stories, the more, I was able to let that time in my life go. Long story. I'm being a little flowery about this.
No, I like it. No, but that's the purpose of this, Jack.
Yeah. I wrote those stories. I built a website. That was my first time taking initiative, being a little entrepreneurial. I built a website called Gus McCoy. The inside joke was the USMC, but if you had the G in front and the OY, it's Gus McCoy. And I ran that for like 5 or 6 years. I didn't really ever make money off of it. I think I sold 2 or 3 T-shirts. Talk about my first real mishap in business. Ordered 500 T-shirts for a fucking blog I made.
But you went on. I guarantee when you did it, you were like, "This is gonna fucking
I'm gonna
crush."
fucking blow up, dude. This is before. This is before. This is, by the way, this is like in the
This is
late,
MySpace era.
This is 2009, 2010. This is before.
Facebook.
This is before Matt Best was in. This is before any of this was just some fucking guy telling funny stories. There was no such thing as the veteran personality or anything at that time. Yeah, I did that, and my goal was to always get published. That was still to me, it still is a big deal. But back then, that was like the media world we live in now. The digital media hadn't really blown up yet, so having your name on a book still meant something. And I wanted to get a book made out of this, and I, for years, pitched fucking every literary agent in America, and nothing. Right? The publishing industry was going through changes. But it did open up other doors, right? I was able to provide proof of work. So the Duffel blog.
Yep.
I'm very proud to say I was like one of the original writers on the Duffel blog. I was one of the early writers, right?
Oh,
there was
shit.
about
Okay.
a dozen of us that were there.
This is OG.
Yeah.
OG military.
The Duffel blog was basically the military version of the Onion, and it blew up, and that was read in Pentagon circles. So I was one of the I got to do the Duffel blog, and from the Duffel blog I got to other little one-hitter opportunities came up. Business Insider was I was like, oh fuck, am I doing journalism now? Fuck. And then I started. Blogs were still a big deal back then. You could get a lot of eyes on a story through a blog, and so the Rhino Den was a big blog back then, and I started doing stuff for them. And that was operated by a T-shirt company that they were making these silly videos, which was a new thing. These veterans are out making these silly videos, and it was run by a company called Ranger Up. And at that point, I'd done the whole like crashing on couches all over Southern California and all over the place. But I was like, fuck, I do have to get a real job. And I was making really good money in the oil field at that time, putting in 12, 13, 14-hour days.
Me and Jack knew each other from Midland. We didn't, but he knew my family's restaurant.
Oh, I knew that place very well.
Oh, I just had it fucking 2 days ago. My aunt and uncle came from Midland.
They brought it with?
Dude, they brought Jumborito, and I just had the beef stew. That's why I was like, fuck, I gotta tell Jack. 2 days ago, I had the beef stew burritos because they brought me that.
Bro.
And then, dude, I was fucking so stoked. I was like, because I forgot they brought it. I put it in my refrigerator. I woke up the next day, opened my fridge. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like,
dude, that place is a staple. And to me, it's like, oh, I've known Eli for years. But when was it maybe 4 years ago, you told me your uncle owned it. I was like, my respect for you has completely changed. You are so much more important in my life now. Now that I know your uncle owns Jumborito. You know how many multimillionaires we know? And I was like, I don't care about people's money. But when I found out your uncle owned
Jose
this
Cuevas.
West Texas staple of a brand, that was everything to me.
it was fucking wild. I was like, wait, Jumborito? You're like, holy shit, your uncle knows that? Because I think you brought up just the oil business. Like, where at? And you're like, Midland, Odessa. I was like, oh, you ever had Jumborito? And you're like, yeah.
Fuck yeah. Dude, I'm one of the only people in this country that vacations in Midland, Texas, because I still have friends out there that I love dearly. So I will go out there once a year, spend a weekend in Midland, Texas, go to a Rockhounds game, Yeah. My buddy's a cop and he's like a sergeant, so he can do whatever he wants. So he'll take me on a ride along and just have a nice little weekend in Midland.
Oh, man. Okay, we got sidetracked.
Yeah.
So you were like, hey, Ranger Up, but I need a real job, so I'm going to actually take this and...
Well, I was having a real job in the oil field.
Midland,
and I was putting in
money too.
Between all the writing. And that's when I learned like cadence and deadlines, right? Like I have to put out one story a week. So no matter come hell or high water, no matter what my schedule is in the oil field, I am going to find time to write and put it out there. Anyways, yeah, the job came up and it was like a 70% pay cut, but my goal was always to be a professional writer, and now I guess you would call it a creator, but my goal is to be a professional writer. And $32,000 was just enough for me to survive, and I fucking took the job and was out there for 4 years, and it went from just being a writer to writing YouTubes, being in YouTube videos, coming up with t-shirt concepts, silly stuff, dumb gay shit. Like the Spartan thing was a huge thing back then. A lot of you watching this right now, you bought a Spartan shirt. Don't deny it. You bought a Spartan shirt. So that was a big thing. Dude, and then we did the movie, and that opened up more doors. And then I was there for 4 years. The only time I ever took a week off in 4 years was when my brother died.
No shit.
Yeah. I worked almost pretty much every single day for 4 years straight because I had finally gotten the opportunity to get paid for this thing that, you know, I was sleeping on couches. I had nothing to show for it. Now I have something.
And you got to act too, which like you got to lead because of how well you were as an actor. You're still one of my favorite actors to work with. Like,
thank you.
You fucking crush it as an actor. And it is very rare to direct somebody and them actually crush it. I have maybe in one hand like actors where I'm like, they get my vision. I can tell them what to do and they actually perform. And that is so rare. So working with you, I was like, oh, this guy's fucking talented.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No.
Do you know why I think that is? It's because I had real fucking jobs. And a lot of actors want to come in and be like, mold the character to themselves or have input on the character. Well, because A, I come from a blue collar background, and B, I come from a writing background. I respect this is what the writers and the director expect from me. This isn't about what I want in the character. This is about what the people employing me want. And I think that gave me advantages in the acting workspace where I don't mind being told what to do. That's your fucking job as an actor. You're a line monkey.
Yep.
You take your comfortability and ability to play characters, which that's practice. That takes work. But you're there to service the writers and the director and then eventually the audience. But this isn't about you and how, like, so I feel like I've always been good at doing what I'm told to do. And that comes from the blue collar background I come from. And I meet people that have never held blue collar jobs and they like to fight a little more about they romanticize the creative world a little too much, right? Because they've never held a real job where someone says, I don't give a fuck about your opinion. Do what I tell you. You know what I mean?
It's so nice. Oh, God. It's like, Jack, do it this way. Okay. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, thank God. Like, oh, this is great. There's
okay,
ego,
I didn't play the
no-
character how you wanted. This is not an ego thing. If I'm a good actor, then I'll make adjustments according to what the director wants.
And it works every fucking time. I'm like, oh, this is as it should be. Why is this so difficult to find? Jesus fucking Christ.
Because people get into the creative arts. They get into the art world. They romanticize the idea of being a writer or an actor or whatever, a sculptor. They want the lifestyle of doing that, but they don't realize it's a fucking job. And sometimes you don't want to show up to work, but you got to do it anyways. You got to work through hangovers. You don't get to choose your schedule. You have to maintain a schedule. It's a job. It's not a romantic world. You should be uncomfortable. You should feel nervous. You should be tired. That's what having a fucking job is.
Just be thankful you have that opportunity to call it a job.
Exactly. And even today, I'll start, these days, I've been doing it for a long time. I'll start bitching about something a little bit in my head, like this bullshit. I'm like, dude, 25-year-old you would fucking be begging to be in this situation.
Exactly. I always remember that. I'm like, do you know how blessed any of this is? That's why, yes, I might work for 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, more.
Yeah.
And they're my own fault because I keep taking on more businesses, more responsibilities. But then I'm like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I am creating generational wealth for myself, for my family, but also other families now. And then I get to change lives in a positive. I get to write checks for like nonprofits and really change lives.
And you get to say whatever the fuck you want on camera.
Exactly. I'm like,
Especially when you have your own streaming service.
Damn Skippy. And now I'm like, you know what? I might bitch every once. I'm like, fuck. I wish I had more time off. But I will never not love what I do or not be thankful for it, and then thank the audience for just the opportunity to have any of this fucking.
That's where the biggest part comes in, right? It's like that's why you have to work hard, because not only do you owe it to yourself, if you're going to justify your paycheck in a normal working world, you have to justify it to the boss, right? In our world, if you want to justify your paycheck, your boss is the goddamn audience. And that's why you owe it to yourself and to them to work hard and we all have it a little bit, but minimize the fucking ego.
Yeah, dude. If you can check your ego and just be like, everyone realize why we're here and the rarity of this and how people, dude. Again, it is what you would sacrifice just to be part of that. Because if self-reflecting is like, hey, young Eli, 22-year-old Eli getting out of the military.
Just starting to fiddle around with cameras for the first time.
And then they were given an opportunity to work with this. I'd be like, oh, dude, I would have jumped to anything. I would have been busting my ass. I would have been going above and beyond to show my worth, to study. When Freddie gave me the opportunity to work with Rocky Jump, I was like,
what a mentor.
Dude, exactly. And he was like, hey, do you know how to do this? And I was like, yeah, 100%. I didn't, but I'm
here. I'm going to learn.
Dude, and I just went home and just studied. I would just stay up all night and be like, here, okay, I got to learn this. So every time I would show up to work, he'd be like, damn, this looks good. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
That's the whole like, oh man, fake it till you make it. Like, if you do repetitions enough, eventually you're going to make it.
Yeah, and we're here. So when you did, you said you didn't take off a single week until brother passed. And brother passed how close were you with your brother?
He was 15 years older than me.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, your family had like a gap because you were the young.
I'm technically middle. My dad is kind of older, so he's my half brother from my dad's previous marriage.
Close.
Well, I mean, because of the age gap, and then we moved to Minnesota when I was 5. My brother was already, obviously, at that point, an adult in California where he grew up. So I would see him probably once or twice a year. He did move out to Minnesota for a while, and I got to spend time with him as a 12, 13-year-old. But it's kind of sad when he died, because I was 30, 31 when he died. So it's not that there was any like natural thing why we weren't close, other than how does a 20-year-old talk to a 5-year-old? How does a 25-year-old talk to a 10-year-old? How does a 30-year-old talk to a 15-year-old? We never got to relate to each other in any certain way because of the age gap. And it's kind of sad when he died. We were just getting to the point where we were starting to be like equals as men and could share. And man, I'm so grateful, dude. Like, fucking like 2 or 3 weeks before he died, we talked like 6 hours one night. And as sad as his death was, like the only thing that kept me from being super fucking sad about it is that I had that like last conversation with him. That
closure.
Was like, oh my God, all night long. Probably from like 6 p.m. till frickin' like 2 or 4 or 5 in the morning. Just
oh man, was it just playing catch up or just
playing
like
catch
live?
up? And again, like we're both men now, so now I can talk to him on an equal footing because I have life experiences, you know. Where it's just like, what the fuck? Again, what was he going to say to me when I was 15 and he was 30, right? Now we can talk like men. It was awesome. We talked about our childhoods. We talked about our dad. We talked about what we're doing professionally. We talked probably our opinions on politics and all that. In that 6 hours, I discovered my brother more than ever than actually being with him physically. You know, which I was quite a bit growing up.
Yeah.
Holidays and all that stuff. But
you had a deeper connection
I
at
had
that
an
because you
actual
actually got to
connection
talk.
with him at that time. Yeah.
You actually could relate for once in your entire life because, as you were saying, 15 to 30-year-old, that is, you're a fully developed man at 30, and then this kid is a teenager just learning to drive.
Yeah.
You have no fucking connection.
He took me and my buddy Sean when I was like 15 to a Limp Bizkit concert. That's how we had bonding time. He's like he's a 30-year-old dragging his 15-year-old brother to a Limp Bizkit concert. He was down with Limp Bizkit. My brother I had a great joke at his fucking funeral because he was like a metalhead. So he didn't really cut his hair until like the last couple years of his life. Always had like long fucking, he was a metal guy. And oh fuck. I'll say it.
Yeah, say it.
Everyone, at his little funeral, I go, Robert Mandaville was 45 years old. His ponytail was 17.
And then the audience started laughing at that one.
It was like a private joke I did with like family, but yeah, I didn't do it like at the, giving a speech or anything like that. Yeah.
But
you know what's cool about him too is his mom, who had no relation to me whatsoever, was like the nicest lady. She would send me and my sister, my dad's ex-wife, who was married like 10 years before he married my mom, would send me and my sister Christmas gifts every year. When I was stationed at Camp Pendleton, she would host me and my military buddies at her house for Thanksgiving and Christmas and shit. And her husband was a nice guy. So like my dad was like really, and my mom were like cool with
just everyone hanging out.
Everyone hanging out. Yeah. Yeah.
If you have healthy relationships with families, it's like Kylie and Savannah, my child's mom. They get along great. Like,
what more could you ask for?
Yeah, and then it's so weird. It's weird when people are like, "Don't you get mad at like? Isn't there issues?" And you're like, "Why would there be issues?"
She's
like,
not my problem anymore as long as she's.
Yeah, we're good friends,
yeah,
and then Sav loves it, and then she loves our other kiddo. Like everyone just gets along, and everyone's like. Kylie will tell Ryan, it's like, hey, how's Mama Sav doing? To write in, because they're not blood, but she's like, she calls him Mama Sav. It's like, oh, look, it's a healthy relationship and everyone can get along. Wild concept for a lot of people. And they're like, oh, that's weird. It's like, it shouldn't be, dog. It should be very normal.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, at least that's a tight-knit relationship. And then was that, you were probably just thankful for that moment you got with your brother, and then funeral happened. And now do you stay in contact with like that family still to this day?
Unfortunately, it's sad. His mother, she's passed since then.
No shit.
Yeah. And then even like his other half brother, her son from the next marriage, he was a good, nice guy in my life. He passed away recently, and yeah.
Dude, it's the older you get to see how, I mean, my entire mom's side is gone. Like both grandparents, my mom and sister, all gone. And you're like, whoa, okay, that entire family's gone. And I have my cousin Cameron, but that's it. Like that entire lifeline is gone now. And you're like, oh shit.
It's the saddest thing I ever heard come out of my dad's mouth. Cause my dad's a tough son of a bitch. He's never complained about anything in his life, and life has thrown him some shit that was not his fault, that he had no control over. Never heard the guy complain in his life. But because he was a Gold Star child, he had to rely on his male uncle. He had a lot of male aunts, where he had a lot of aunts and uncles.
Yep.
And he had to rely on a lot of his male uncles to be father figures because he never obviously had that. And I grew up knowing there was on both his mom and dad's side, I grew up knowing all these great aunts and uncles. They were influential in his life. They were influential in my life. And the last one passed away probably around like 2015 or so. And my dad, there was this tone. He goes, all my family's dead. Like not obviously referring to me and other than me and my sister and
yeah,
well, not brother, but yeah, he's literally said it out loud. All my family's gone.
And that's all, dude. It is a weight where you're like, oh shit, like, and that's where you're like, oh man, if I don't have kiddos or whatever, that is an entire line that since the beginning, the dawn of man, was 14.2 billion years old, 15.2 billion.
Here is to keep the whole thing going.
Yeah, and you're like, man, my entire seed has made it right up until my decision to be like, meh. Like, and I think about it, I'm like, Ryden chances are is not gonna have kiddos. Like, I know that. And then Savin, we might have one, but if we don't, like, because my brother never had kids, my sisters have never had kids.
Yeah,
and that's how I was like, Cuevas line on my dad's line just boop ceases
my
to exist.
sister getting knocked up took a huge relief off of my chest.
Oh, God.
The name might die with me, but at least the bloodline's going to keep going. Yeah.
It's always fucking wild. You're like, oh, well, fuck me. Well, here we go.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to think about that too much at times because that's a heavy thing, dude. Mm-hmm. Some people I meet are totally cool with it. I'm like, fuck, I would feel guilty.
Dude, and for me, I'm like, oh, I finally built these empires for everything. Like, I built multiple generational empires. I'm like, yes.
Where's it going to go?
Shit.
What am I going to do? Donate to the Negro League, the Negro College Foundation?
They're like, Eli, it's not called that anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
Just write a check to the Negro League.
The Negro College Foundation. Yeah, that was a Mr. Deeds ripped off. I could have come up with my own original joke. I just ripped off a Sandler joke.
They weren't. They'd be like, "That's $5 million. We can just let it."
Yeah.
Just let
I think I said Negro League because I went to the Negro League Baseball Museum. That place is awesome. If you're ever in Kansas City, go to the Negro. I was dead serious. If you like baseball, that's a baseball must.
I will remember that for all the sports I never played.
If you're in Kansas City ever, even if you're not a baseball fan, if you're doing a live show in Kansas City, swing by the Negro League Baseball Museum. I swear to God, it's freaking awesome.
Jack speaks very highly of this place. I need to check it out.
Hey, my white friend from San Antonio said the Negro League Baseball Museum's really cool. Yeah.
Location? I'll just hop in a taxi. Take me to the Negro League.
Oh, they'll know. It's a big part of the town. Yeah.
Well, Jack is now doing Jack history, and we're going to talk about a little more on the after show. But the last thing, Jack, you're crushing it in Jack history before we close this. Yeah, dude, I'm so fucking stoked. Again, it is probably my favorite part of it is you just activated that. We had discussions multiple times, and then you were like, you know what, I'm going to do it. You reached out. You were extremely thankful. You even gave a shout out to Unsub on episode 1, and you were.
Oh, I make sure people know like this. I'm sorry, Eli.
No, go. Yeah, go.
I'm sorry to interrupt. That was never in the cards for me naturally to make my own YouTube show. I've been playing characters. I've been characters and being a guy in YouTube for years now. And I like that role. I'm very comfortable playing just a supporting character. It was never in my head that I was going to do my own show. You guys planted that seed, and I really appreciate that because you did it over the span of a couple episodes. It's not like it's just I came on and you said to do that. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going to start my own show. You guys kept at it with me. And then the Unsub audience eventually bullied me into doing it. I just really appreciate that because now that I'm starting to see it start taking, its own level of momentum, I'm like, oh, fuck. I would have never done this on my own. I really I've done a lot of self-starting things in my life, but YouTube's not one of them, and I really appreciate it.
Dude, of course. I was so proud and then stoked for you to watch it take off, and then you're crushing it, and that makes me even more happy. And then there's no ego in it. You're like, hey, what do I do? How do I make it better? All the fucking time.
I know how to meet deadlines, and I know how to, kind of run a production, but YouTube is a whole different fucking beast. So hey, guess what? I'm kind of around these subject matter experts.
And you would just ask questions and then you activate on. You're like, okay, I'll try that. Boom, boom, boom. And it's just awesome to see that. And I'm so thankful for you to actually listen and then just do it on your own. Because that's the shit that motivates me. I'm like, yes, my boy's doing it. He's just starting and look where he is. Because 20,000 people watching a video is insane. That is a lot of people. you can look at social media and some people are like, oh, only 20,000. Dude, 20,000 people fills out. That is almost double the like the New York Times. What's the Madison Square Garden is 16,000 people.
Oh yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah,
That's
a basketball arena. Yeah.
Yeah, that is 20,000 people watching you. If you put yourself in the middle of 20,000 people, you'd be like, oh,
This is a big audience.
hi.
Yeah.
You get nervous instantly.
Yeah, that's a good thing about the internet. You don't have to, like, some guy says something to me on the internet. It's like, this would not affect me the same way if he was like a Denny's waiter calling me fat. Yeah.
Exactly. You're like, oh. Yeah. Well, okay, where do the people find you for Jack History?
It's on YouTube at Jacked History, JACKED History. And yeah, we're 25 episodes in now.
Damn.
Yeah, one a week, 9 a.m. every Friday. Again, that's where I appreciate where I came from, not just the blue collar work, but those reps I had to put in at places like Ranger Up, or you know, I learned to respect a deadline, and no matter what, it's going to get made. There's no waiting around for my creativity to seep in. It's like, oh, I'm hungover, but I have to fucking do this.
And it doesn't have to be perfect.
It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to take your experience and make it.
Because it's going to get better each and every time. And it will get so much faster. Like, I guarantee you're way faster in episode 1, 2.
Yeah, you can absolutely see the improvements from the first episode in numerous ways. And that's, I understood that going in, right? It's like, I have to put in my reps. I read the comment section. Comment section is a very positive place, but I always hear they're like, when are you going to be on Pepperbox? And my main response for that is literally, I have to put my reps in on YouTube. Like, I understand that part. And I'm grateful that my career has never been, I've never been like a celebrity. Nothing's ever blown up for me. I've never become like a house, like, and that's been a great thing for me, because now I understand the importance of just trudging it out, sticking it through, trying different things. Like, I've never had to, yeah. Anyways, I understand the importance of just sticking it out.
Yeah, because you're just thankful for any view now. You're like, man, this is awesome. This is awesome. Oh, man, I'm so thankful.
Dude, yeah. And I'm around people like you got, like, obviously, like, I'm around people that, yeah, they get millions of views, but A, there's a reason for that. And B, it's like they also had to start from scratch. So, like, I know this isn't going to happen overnight.
No, but you're putting in the work, and it's awesome to see. Jack, I truly appreciate your friendship. I truly appreciate you as an artist and a human.
Thank you.
You are one of my...
I really appreciate you having me on, bro.
Dude, thank you so much for coming out. And everyone, we're going to do it after show. We'll talk probably like 10, 20 minutes about Jack history. And thank you guys so much for hanging out and coming by. But, dude, truly an honor. Thank you for teaching us. You are one of my favorite actors to work with, and you're one of the hardest workers I've ever met. So truly a blessing to call you a friend, brother.
I have a lot of nice things to say about you, but one thing I'm a little disappointed in is I didn't get any freaking Jumperito while your family was out here.
Sorry.
Okay.
Next time. I love you all. Kisses. Mwah.